Well, this time I'm going to make a 1/35th scale German artillery piece, basically, with some figures. And I'm going to do some adapting and changing of the figures, which goes against what I was planning to do. But when you get into figures like this, this is kind of what they're all about, really. The other thing is, it's really going to be an experiment, because it's an experiment in just how much kind of detail, particularly in the painting, you have to go into. Because first of all, if people are far enough away to appear 1/35th scale, how many things like buttons and detail on epaulets and eyeballs and eyebrows show up and that kind of thing. The other thing is, when you film these things and you zoom in and then they're enlarged on the screen, they're phenomenally big and the detail goes completely haywire. Brush strokes appear and all of that kind of thing. So this is an experiment in how far both these things can be pushed. What's real, what's model making, and what's extraordinary magnification. And I don't know why I embarked upon this. Anyway, here we go. Here we are with the Tamiya 1/35th 3.7 centimetre or 37mm anti-tank gun, pack 35-36. Never quite understood all that stuff, but anyway, there we go. And we're back in the kitchen for a lot of reasons. I made this as a kid and I thought it was great. It's a small and simple model with some rather brilliant figures who come in handy for an awful lot of things. And also it's a gun that can be mounted on the half tracks. And there's the gun itself, and there's the figures. I'm only going to make the gun because I want a very different state of affairs, and those figures can easily be turned into very active chaps, perhaps hiding behind a wall or something. So that's the plan. Here's the parts. Figures and their equipment. Let's just focus on the figures because they're all sort of crawling around, and very often when you get packs of figures they're sort of standing up in fairly straightforward poses. And here is the parts for the gun. So the gun itself is only one sprue. That's alright, it's a nice little gun. And we're going to use parts from this set, which is a masterpiece of model design. And this set, probably just arms and legs and whatever, just to create some little figures of our own. So without the figures, this is all you get, which is alright. It's a good thing to do on a Saturday morning when it's snowing. Excuse me. Simple stuff, I seem to remember. I hope. So, off we go. That's the actual body of the gun done. It's very, very gluey there because those pieces really, they were much harder to do than I'd expected. Let's put it that way. If I'd realised they were going to sort of wobble around, I'd have been more cautious. But I'll let that go hard and then just do a very light sanding off of it. Anyway, so while that's drying, the cradle is getting made, a couple of bits ready and waiting to go, and then up here just some preparation going on. Always very interesting. Never happened with old Airfix. I can't think if it happens with new Airfix. I would expect you start in the instructions with pieces 1 and 2. But here you are with pieces 23 and 24. And then you go on to 8, 5, 7 and 6. It's really funny, isn't it? It must be easy enough to just number them the right way round, but there you go. The eagle-eyed amongst you will have spotted that I've got, or that I did have, that piece and that piece on the wrong way round. one was on the wrong side and one was the wrong way round. Sorted that out, but the gun doesn't really want to sit neatly within them and have, I don't know what it's called, the kind of toothed, that curve there with the teeth on it that allows you to fix the elevation of the gun. That then didn't want to fit where it has to fit, so it's all got a bit more mucky and a bit more wobbly. Consequently, I've run ahead and I've glued it onto the what would you call it, base, chassis, axle housing or something, so I've got something sturdy to work with, because I've then got to put on all these little bits, and I need something a bit more solid to hang on to. I remember that being a bit of a mess when I was a kid, and I thought, I'm better than that now. Ha ha ha. I was so wrong. Made exactly the same mistakes, I'm sure, and had exactly the same problems. I will be able to clean things up and tighten them up shortly. Slowly things are coming together. And I've got the little handle things for lining the gun up stuck on, and working on, I had a look in the instructions, and working on the trail legs. I used to know that phrase, and then I just cut that off. It all went well, but I dropped it and it went up my sleeve. So I thought, time to just do a little bit of filming in case everything falls apart from here. It's pretty much done. Things I've just got to add on are the, I was going to say brush, that's not a brush, it's a shovel, and the wheels. There's also the ammunition boxes. They were just two sides with a lid. I think I have the image here. I should have shown them split up. And really what I've got to do now is a bit of painting, isn't it? So if I get the tyres done, then I'll pop them on and we'll have the main parts done. But it's paint time now. Why did I say that like that? Here we have it, rather mucky, a little bit heavy-handed. I might just smooth a few bits out. I was thinking, obviously a lot of muck's going to come off the wheels, and most of that muck's going to be when it's being pulled, in which case the wheels are going to go anti-clockwise. No, they're not, they're going to go clockwise. That way. So the major spattering is going to come up here, and hopefully I've got, or follow the arc of the wheel, so hopefully I've got some of that. I then need to actually get the wheels on to determine the full size. And a little bit of wear and tear showing up, so slightly silvered protrusions, and slightly silvered at the back where there'll be, where these two the bits that dig in the ground, I've forgotten what they're called. I always do, the minute I switch the camera on, all the words go. These bits cross over each other and then attach to the hook. And then I've done a degree of wheel. So once the wheels are on, we will be able to ascertain a little bit more the sort of real, accurate positions of things and where the muck's going to go. So let's stick them on. Right, well, here comes some figures. This fellow I made when I was a kid, and I've still hung on to him. And I'm going to take some bits off the, there you go, that's coming off. And I'm going to take the machine gun off as well. And then replace in both hands ammunition boxes for the gun, because you get a few of those. And then these are the figures from the machine gun team. And I think I'm going to use possibly a lower half and I reckon quite a few arms. It's a handy set, this. This is how it's shaping up. Isn't the light bad yet again? Anyway, I want these guys pushing this gun. So So I've edged myself round. You can see that there's 4 guys pushing and 1 guy coming along with some ammunition cases, and one fella, this one, I want him to look like he's just skidding a little, perhaps in a bit of mud. These 2 guys at the back pushing hard using the handle and the foot thing that digs. Next we're going to add some damaged bits of wall from this set. I've got some elsewhere and I can't find them, and it's all getting very complicated, isn't it? I'm not going to make a sturdy diorama, don't worry, just going to stand them up in the background. Don't worry, like you're worried. Well, this is it so far. Everything's just cobbled together, so if I nudge it I think some of the walls will fall down. Got the helmets on at last. Probably that's the main thing. So now it's baggage and stuff, and then I'll blend in the colours, a little bit of lightening up and weathering on the chap's arms and jackets. So yeah, there we go. Bit by bit it's coming together. I wouldn't call it a diorama. I might call it something else. In fact, let's just see how far we can push this. Yeah. Push it might not be the best phrase. Oh, there goes a wall. Just to give an idea of what we're... Oops. Of how incompetent I am, I suppose. But there you go. Kind of halfway through, I suppose. Halfway through the model, not the diorama. Not going to worry about that. It's just a backdrop. Ooh, steady on. So quite clearly there's nothing sturdy about the backdrop. Might have to sort that out. Anyway, here it is sort of done at that halfway stage really, just to see how things look. And it looks okay from a distance if you don't worry about the sort of masonry in the background. So really that's a little bit off-putting, I reckon. It seems, looking at this, getting a bit close, tidying up parts is definitely essential. Can't get away with anything. The seams down the sides of the men, very noticeable. That chap's helmet tipped back, that's not working, that'll have to go. And the helmets have actually got damage at the back of them because they are from boxes, old boxes of stuff, and the helmets have loosened and come off the sprue, so there's damage where that's happened. So they need a clean cut or they need filling and sorting out. I'm not missing the helmet markings, but perhaps I'm doing everything an injustice. I've looked at a load of photographs on the internet and in books, and in a lot of them you can't really make out that there's helmet markings there. That tipped back helmet looks horrible, doesn't it? So I'm half and half about them, and with a bit of weathering over it, you know, it's not... I should really, shouldn't I? The other thing is things like chin straps. On some of them the sculpting is quite noticeable. There you go, there's one. So I will need to do chin straps where it's noticeable, but a lot of fellas tuck the chin straps up into the helmet or around the back, so you know, you've got to take that into account as well. Some of the fellas also are getting away with not too much detail on their faces, but others it's really showing up quite a lot. That may depend on their posture and where they're placed. So here and there I might have to darken eyes and eyebrows at least, and I might need to vary the flesh tones on the faces a bit. This is all sort of interesting stuff, because I remember in the 90s buying a modelling magazine, and there was a letter from a fella who sounded like he might be involved in government, because he referred to a lot of government documents going back quite a long way, where it was they were referring to how far away from people you have to be to see the whites of their eyes, or their straps, or their buttons, and how different colour is at a distance. And I found that very interesting. So I'm underworking some of the paint might actually be more realistic. But the question is, what are we doing? Going for realistic, or are we sort of model making and therefore responding to the detail on the model? This might seem a bit academic, but it'd be nice to have things that looked real. At the same time, depends on the quality of the model. So this is quite messy, theoretically. So I'm going to put this in a box and put it away for a while and think about it, and then possibly get it out and actually make a real diorama out of this, and make the walls at the back solid and all of that kind of thing. So this might just be part one. There we go. Thank you for watching. See you again soon.